Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. See Bruce Leaf's already here. Welcome back. Thanks so much for stopping by. Once again, so often, it's deeply appreciated. Whew, man, I am tired. But I got a lot of off-stream stuff done that I wanted to talk about. Um, I got some configuration done for deploying this to Heroku. And I started on DigitalOcean Kubernetes as well, but one thing at a time. That's kind of marked as work in progress for now. So I have this deploy folder here, and I guess it's outside of the documentation because there's sort of specific stuff in here, along with specific readmes for these sort of deployment targets. And of course, maybe later we want to have a Fargate guide also for people on Amazon to get this up and running. Yeah, so let's look at what we have for Heroku. Session has expired. Let's log in real quick. Oh, now they want a verification code. Well, anyway, it's up on Heroku. And here's the little bit of a guide. First, you create a Heroku account, create an app on your Heroku account. Perhaps name it FQauth server with your name there. And then you want to provision this app with a Postgres DB, which is where we store the users, and a Redis DB, which is used for the queuing for doing background jobs. And then in the portal for Heroku, you want to specify an auth private key. You can generate one using swish generate JWT key. So this is going to be the private key that you use for signing the auth keys for your server. You can see it puts one out base64 encoded already using OpenSSL. And then, of course, we encrypt some stuff in the database with the symmetric key. So we'll need a key in the Heroku config as well. You can generate one very easily with swish generate DB key. And that's also base64 encoded as well, using OpenSSL once again. And then you need an Apple services key. And you create one of these inside of the certificates, identifiers, and profile section. And then you go to keys. You can generate one in there. And then you want to download it and save it somewhere safe. And then you want to base64 encode it and give it to the Heroku config as the Apple services key environment variable. And then Apple also gives you an ID for this key. And you want to stick that in the Apple services key ID configuration environment variable. And then lastly, two more things. The Apple team ID looks something like ASDF1234. And then the Apple bundle ID, which looks like something like, as we can say, like full-queue developer .fqauth sample, perhaps. And then what you want to do is you want to clone the server repo to your local computer. You want to choose the container stack. So use the Heroku command line tool. Say Heroku stack set -a fqauth server the name, whatever the name it was from step 2. Maybe I should say that app name is from step 2. Then you want to push you want to set up the Heroku remote, and finally push to it. And Heroku only accepts main or master as branch names. So you can use a colon to push the trunk branch to it. Yeah, so that's how you would go about deploying to Heroku at this stage. I think in the future, we can have a deploy to Heroku button, and we're not there yet, and that's okay. But we'll get there. So that's kind of, yeah, the overview of how to do it. And I wanted to share a little bit more of the inner workings of that as well. So we do have a Heroku YAML. And we couldn't specify an image directly. As you remember last time, we used GitHub Actions to build a, where is it? We're using GitHub Actions to build a Docker image and label it with the current SHA of the commit. And of course, once we start doing tags, we want to make sure those are tagged as well. Yeah, so we have the image published to GitHub, but we can't use that directly from the Heroku YAML. It complains about a build section missing. I'm like, but Heroku, my brother in DevOps, we have an image built already. So the workaround I did for this is I created a Docker file in the Heroku area, and all it does is from the one that we published from GitHub, that's it. Don't do anything else. That's the one to use. And that's working fine. And then, of course, we can give the commands that we would want to give there. We're going to call the app with serve for the main app, with queues for the background job, and of course, the release task, we want to migrate the database. Yeah, so that's that for the Heroku setup. I feel like I want to say any questions, but I'm sure folks will ask questions in the YouTube comments or whatever. Yeah, so the DigitalOcean Kubernetes is still kind of a work in progress. They also have an app platform that's supposed to be similar to Fargate and Heroku, but I haven't quite finished setting it up yet. I started writing some Terraform modules, and yeah, it can get, just a little bit more complicated. We haven't finished filling out the deployment or anything yet. But that'll be for the future. Yeah, I just wanted to give a little sneak peek there of what I was thinking. Because I guess, the intention of this is that it sort of can be standalone. It is supposed to be a microservice. You can deploy to your Kubernetes cluster. They can deploy next to your other Heroku apps, or if you have, half your app on Heroku, half your app on Fly, it's just another service. Maybe you might want to deploy it to auth example.com, and that should be fine. Or do we also want to allow deploying to something like www.example.com/auth/API or something? That would be for the future anyway. I kind of do want to show some stuff live on Heroku, but I guess maybe I'm not quite ready, not quite ready for that yet. I'm still nervous about sensitive info and all that. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking that I have all this stuff set up in there already. Auth private key, the Apple services key ID, team ID, and app ID, and maybe I'll set this up, get it all to work to get like samples for our tests, um, and then kind of like delete all that stuff, um, just so that there's just no problems whatsoever with security. Well, and I guess we had a little bit of README updates here as we continue to drive towards a alpha release. We're not quite there yet. Yeah, so that's kind of the review of the configuration so far for deployment. Um, I know Heroku is no longer going to be free, but I still think it's kind of exemplary of an easy way to get something running. Maybe we'll add I think fly.io is getting a little popular. I'm going to add a guide for that as well, perhaps. And of course, Fargate, that's down the line. Okay, and then what I wanted to work on today was the iOS sample app. Which we have. It's not it's not finished yet. The point of the sample app, once again, is to have something that you can test with. Um, you can deploy to test your own deployment of the server. And so we want to make it easily configurable for people to get it up and running for themselves. Yeah, so we want to make a few things easily configurable when people check this out and run it locally. But also, I'm thinking maybe I'll publish this to the App Store, and then people can kind of configure it to point to their live version of the app of their server, so they can test everything. Um, Another point of this is to give people some code to steal for just getting like a login view up and running. Yeah, so I guess two of the things that you would want to configure are the team ID and bundle ID. And I guess I just thought, thinking through it just now, there's two places to configure that. Sort of when someone checks this out locally, test their own stuff, steal their own code. Um, then the second place would be if they download this from the App Store. Um, maybe there should be like a configuration for the. Oh, I guess the bundle ID won't be configurable if they download it from the App Store or the development team actually, huh? So maybe that's maybe that's not a thing. That's kind of hard coded because it's in the App Store. Okay, so thinking through that even further, I guess we don't need to do that part. Um, but I guess we will want something like this. Um, Now these, of course, are hard coded with dummy data. Maybe we want to like check a few spots on where to configure this. Um, so let's see. So I guess there's a few steps here. Um, we want to add. So I guess this URL needs to be written to a file somewhere. Um, and what else? And then we need to sort of read it from a configuration. Um, So for sort of inputs to this, I was thinking we can check environment variables. If it's not there, we can check for a .env, and if it's not there, we can check on the security tool and get stuff out of there, um, just to make it as easy as possible for folks to um, load things into here. Um, yeah, so we could say something like, oh, let me open this up in Xcode actually. Uh, this one. No, the sample app, which is to auth sample iOS. Said swish. Let's close that for now. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the best way to do this. Like, do we want to check environment variables or like just check a .env file? Um, so it would be like process info, environment. Um, Maybe a guard clause here. How come that T isn't coming through? Um, well, I guess we're not. Oh yeah, I guess for right now, let's say I could not find these variables, but I guess really we want to say like if they're not there, then check for a .env. We don't want to really throw here. Um, and I guess yeah, we kind of want to move this to a separate file, like load variables or something like that. That'll have perhaps a bundle ID, development team, and a server URL. And that'll just be a string. Don't need to complicate things. And then I'll have maybe a load thing. Will return something of the type of itself. You could say something like, well, if that's true, then return bundle ID, development team, server URL, server URL. Else, I'll try to load it from a .env file. And in here, we can say something like big.load. Config.development team. Config.server URL. Yeah, so there's a little bit more to do here. So yeah, we can check if there's a .m file around. And I believe Vapor has a .env loader. So I kind of want to see if we can yoink that code. Okay, this is just kind of how to use it. Let's see. Let's look at the Vapor code. And let's see. How can I find it? It might be a package. Let's check the packages first, and then we'll look through the code. Console kit, async kit. Anything about .env loading? Okay, this doesn't have any dependencies. Let's see. Looks like it might have been in here a long time ago, but either way, it's not here at the moment. Let's check this repo. Oh, here's some tests for it. .mfile.parser. Yeah, this is kind of what we are looking to yoink. Looks like it's just inside of Vapor. Hardly any imports. That's nice. Using all non-blocking I/O and stuff as well, which I don't think we need for our purposes here. Um, yeah, I don't want to rewrite this. I guess should I make this as an external utility that anyone can use? Well, I guess let's check. Let's see. Has anyone else written a Swift .n package? If someone's done this already, I don't want to do it twice. This links into Vapor. Hasn't been updated in forever. Get bool, get path, get int, string. Hmm. Splits it on new lines, trims white spaces, skips comments, splits on equal signs. Interesting. Equals are used in base 64, so I wonder how that's going to work. Man, we could write our own little one of these, huh? Let's try looking at one more. It loads it straight into the environment. That's kind of neat. Oh, this significant portion of this project comes from Vapor. Okay, let's see if we can look at the on GitHub. Yes, this is what I'm looking for. 6 months ago. Okay. Swift packages. Who is Swift packages? Okay, this might be the one to use. Swift packages is a collection of useful and maintained packages created for Swift. Partner engineer at GitHub. We'll try it out. We will try it out. What is the version 3.0? Wow, that brought in Swift Atomic, Swift Neo, and Swift Collections. It's a lot. Okay, so let's try to use it. Import, what was it called? Import.env. First time chatter Strivo says, "Hey, I'm new to web dev. I have one dumb question. Can I ask?" Yeah, of course. Let's see. Oh, we have to add it as a dependency. Such module.env. Oh, Xcode dependency. Oh, it's lowercase. Okay. Let's look at this, the source of this. I wonder what I'm typing in wrong. It says capital .env here. Library.env, targets.env. Yeah, it's, I think I typed that correctly. We're still getting failed. Solving package graph succeeded though. So let's try cleaning. Clean succeeded. Command B. Oh, okay. the import succeeded, just of course, this part failed. Of initializer is inaccessible. Okay, so how do I use it? Let's look back at the docs real quick. Where's the example? Oh, once load.path. Okay. In that case, we can do it this direction. Uh, no. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it this way. Fatal error. No. Well, this is. We're gonna replace this in a second. um, We'll say no config found for now. We have a question in the chat. Trevo asks, so let's imagine I have a project which has a front end in React and a back end in Node and Express. In real world, after development, when a client searches the IP, does the server provide files or something else? When the client searches the IP, I think what you're describing is how servers work. I'm not exactly sure what the question is. So that I guess for Google, when you search for the IP, Google dig google.com, how does everything work with each other? Build after deployment. Yeah, you can have your API served from the same domain as your front end, and your front end can hit the API and get responses back and show it. How does everything work with each other? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that succinctly. I mean, I guess it's kind of like any other app where there's a API on in a server, and isn't the client the front end? Usually, when people say front end, they're talking about either an iPhone app or a browser. A client is a user. Yeah, I guess a user would be using a web browser or an iPhone app. It reaches front end asks server. Yeah, I mean that's you're kind of describing how it works. I guess I'm not sure what you don't understand because you're kind of it sounds like you do understand it. Or what part is confusing to you, I guess? Stribo says, yes, I know, but the thing is, where does the user request go? To a React or Express in my case? I guess it depends on the URL. Um, yeah, I guess you want to point the browser to React, to the React server, uh, and then React makes requests to the Express server. Um, does that help? Okay, I got it. Thank you. Oh, and thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I guess coming back to loading our configuration from a .env, um, I'm thinking that yeah, first we'll try to load from env, and then afterwards we'll try to load from security. And if that doesn't work, then we'll throw an error. Set this down at the end. And I guess we kind of want to do this maybe as a two-phase. Like, this, I guess if the .m doesn't there, but they already have it specified in the environment, yeah, this should be split up. We can make these all private. So this is the one that folks should be using. config equals load from .env. So we can share an error message could not load config from environment .env or from security. There, now we have all our configuration loading in a separate file, ready to be used by the actual project generation script. And this needs a little bit of formatting help. See, it's just kind of really hard to read, so I think I want to even that's a little hard to read. Maybe I'll add a little helper. It's going to be something like that. And now we have that new style of if let, and I wonder if we can just, if this works. Well, it succeeded. Nice. We can swap this over to be a guard, actually. Makes sense to put this all on one line. Let's see what it looks like. That looks all right. And maybe we'll throw here instead of fatal erroring. Something like that. Yeah, we can kind of pick this outside of the scope so it flows just a little bit nicer. So config, load, first load from the environment. It's not there already. Load from .env. It's not there. I'll load from the security framework. If that's not there, then we say, hey, we tried all these things and throw an error. We have all those methods implemented right in here. And what are the errors that this can throw? File cannot be loaded. I guess that's it, really. So maybe we shouldn't maybe we shouldn't completely swallow it. Um, I don't want it to be noisy either. If people aren't using .env, we don't want to make it, we don't show them like, hey, your .env is missing every single time. Cool. Now let's do the load from security. And this one I'm pretty excited about because it's a way to have stuff on your computer that you don't have to type in. You can just run the security command on the command line and get your secrets out pretty easily. Before I do that, I guess I should run this to make sure that we are failing in the way that we expect right now, because I have no .env, I have nothing in the environment. Not a directory. Let's try forcing a rebuild on this. I don't like that this, I guess I like that this env thing is async, this .env thing, but it's using like so many dependencies. We have like 10-second build time now. I'm not exactly happy with that. So let's generate the project again. Switch project. Perfect. Could not load config from this. Perfect. Okay. So if we do put in a .env, I guess we'll swap back to Nova to edit it. And then we have the server URL as well. What did I name that? And the server URL can be auth.examples.com. And let's try to run it. Let's see what we get. We just got a random error with no explanation. Okay. Not great. um, maybe we'll print some errors out. Yeah, what's weird is like it just runs like Swift for me, but sometimes the paths get messed up, and I'm not exactly sure why, but rebuilding helps. Something I need to look into, because it's kind of annoying. we didn't get any new prints at all. I guess we kind of have to do a little bit of print line debugging here. Okay, let's see if this gives us any additional insight. Yeah, we just make like the smallest change and it needs to be like fully rebuilt, which is a little weird. Oh, do I have a infinite loop? The load from env. That's straightforward. Load from .env. Oh, I do have an infinite loop. Okay. Let's try that again. See, if I run this directly from the command line, yeah, it gets the same error, cannot find sh, which is just odd, right? Cool. So let's get loaded it from the .env, and we can take a look at the generated project to see how things loaded. The dot. And let's look over here. Yep, ARC3333, bundle ID. So everything came through. Perfect. And I guess we can make a .env.sample and add .env to the git ignore and commit this little bit. Load project config for env or cool. So we did .env. We did the environment variables. I would still like to try out the security approach as well. And I have a little bit of documentation on that inside of the README, I believe. Yeah, so the way you would add it is like this, and then you can get it out in a similar way, I think. Yeah, so let me run this and then what do I want to do? I guess I need to remember how to get it out, which I guess I didn't write in my notes. Um, I guess that was called a add generic password. So how do I, is it find? Find like get it out for me. Let's see. Also find key. Oh, security with a Y. Dash A will be current user. Okay, so that gets a whole bunch of crap. And then if I say dash W, perfect. Okay. I love it. So then we can use sh to grab this string. Errors from here are not handled. I guess that's true. If I don't specify that's a string, I think that works also. Oh, but I need the close parentheses. And I guess I still need the try, unfortunately. Yeah, let's just rethrow. No, actually, we do need to handle the error and return nil. Well, I guess the problem with this approach is that if there is an error on one of them and the user is trying to figure out what the error was, that might not be so great. Let's kill some of these print statements. And I kind of want to build like a little framework around the security thing in the same way that I did for Xcode build and for Git and 1Password. Um, maybe today, maybe not today. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be hard to find a name for it because security, like how are you supposed to search for security? Um, like that's the name of the command, but like what do you call a wrapper for it? Um, like you can Google for or Safari. You can Google for security CLI Mac, and you'll find out stuff about it. Like how you're supposed to name something after it, like making a security wrapper. Like that's gonna sound so so strange. I guess I can start to build a little bit of a function here. Kind of like I have this little m function here that takes a key and returns whatever it gets. What's the problem here? Optional string, I guess. I think I can make it not optional if I say string.self directly here. Yeah. Then I believe it throws. Let's take a look. Yeah, it'll throw an error. It cannot interpret it as a string. So then this becomes try security of this. Yeah, because it's like this one little function, I'm not sure if having like a whole package around this like makes sense. Like folks could just copy paste this little snippet around. Not sure if it's worth adding a whole nother like package dependency for a one-liner. Let's see. So what did we call the um, what did we call the server URL? There we go. And what's the problem here? Oh, they're not optional. Okay. Cool. So I did one of them. I deleted the .env. So let's try to run it from the command line and make sure that this breaks as expected. Yeah, it needs to like do a full rebuild, which is a little weird. The Swift run should check if it needs a rebuild or not. Yeah, so we get the errors pooping out. File cannot be read. Running security. Cannot load, so cannot load config. It doesn't give details, I guess. Let's see. So in the README, I have the directions for how to do that. Oh, the README is not available from here. I have to check it from here. And I guess you need to sort of say all this stuff. Project is configured with bundle ID, Apple development team, and server URL that you specify. These items can find in the environment. In the shell environment, I guess. In a .env file or using the security command line tool. Configuration code checks these in this order, something like that. The config first checks the environment, then the env file, and lastly checks the security tool. Yeah, we don't have these quite yet. LTQs. Yeah, let's switch playlists. We see dot env dot sample for an example. Instructions for setting up security are below. Example env you can use. Cool. Um, Yeah, I guess I'll use a .n for now. And we need to get the server URL written somewhere. Um, and I think we want to do that. I guess it's not really passed into the project file. It's kind of, we want to write it. Maybe it's like a config file. Maybe new folder. Or does it need to be in a folder? Could be just right here, I guess. Uh, Hop back to Xcode for the nicer syntax highlighting. Yeah, we would want to say something like something like that. We would want to write it to uh, and call get throw. Go in, delete these comments. Yeah, so this should write this contents as a global to this file, and then it'll be there ready to use. You got to find out more about why this error is happening. Maybe there's something I can delete that's like not everything also. That would be nice. Um, yeah, I don't necessarily want to delete the checkouts or the repositories. Maybe I can just delete the .debug. Workspace state. Let's just see how it goes. So it compiles them, but it doesn't re-download them, I guess. And it works. So there's something less we can do. That's nice. Oh, we would also want to add this to our git ignore. And then we want to actually use it in the code. Here, so we have base URL. This wants to be instead what we call it auth server URL. And build succeeded. Cool. So now it is configurable. um, when folks download this from GitHub, um, they can follow the README and get all set up to run the app. So let's go ahead and commit all that. Ooh, still not at an alpha release yet for this either. Okay, so how is everything looking? Yeah, so we have the ignored plist, we have the ignored auth server URL. I guess we could push this into the info plist instead of it being a generated file. I think either way is fine. I guess this is a little bit nicer because you get the type safety from Swift. A little bit of type safety anyway. Like I guess we could could say this is a string. I mean, I guess this already has quotes around it. Because it's already a string. I guess sometimes it's nice to be super explicit, especially when it's generated code. So now when we generate the project, when we run swish project, we load the config, and that handles where to load it from, and it returns a config. And once we have a config, we write the server URL to a file, and then we run xcodegen, which collects all those files into a, what's this thing called, a Xcode project. Whew. And that feels pretty good. I guess maybe these could be functions in a separate file, just to make this all, I guess the word is symmetry. Big, we can say what was that called? This code into here and have this be like a little bit of a helper, perhaps. Takes the config. Maybe I should do this in Xcode. Get the nicer syntax highlighting. And this can take in the config. So here's our new main. Oh, we don't need this import directly anymore, and probably don't need foundation either. Yeah, so load the config. Guess maybe we want to say like write auth server URL and then generate the project. In this config, I guess it's a little long, but it's still less than 100 lines, so I think that's okay. Factor/cleanup. Cool. So I think that's it for that so far. I did have a question in the chat that I wanted to try to talk about. So To asks, so I created a days model with 3 parameters. Next, I create 3 objects based on the model. And I want to modify the object. I created a button that allows me to modify the values in an object. Everything seems to work, but I have the impression that it's not a good and effective way. As you can see, I have a problem with the nomenclature. I hope you can understand me. Okay, so they have a day struct with a title, a number, and a date. I'm not sure what the number is for here. So then they have sorted days and filtered days for their view model, which is an observable object. And it gets initialized with, I guess, a model. Okay, that seems fine. Actually, let me take a quick break before diving into this. I'll be back in just a little bit. Where's the break? Here it is. All right, be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back. So right before the break, we started opening up a viewer question that we got in the Discord, and see if we can help out this pal. Maybe we can tag them. Let's see, let's try to understand what's happening again. So they made a days struct, a day view model in SwiftUI, and a button. So what's the problem that they have? This is not a good and effective way. Guess we can try opening this in a new project and seeing if we can massage this a little bit. Stick this on the desktop. Where did it go? Come back. Come on. Move over. There we go. We don't need you anymore. Okay, here it is. Okay, so let's copy what they have. They have a day struct. They have a day view model. Okay, let's grab this. And lastly, a button. Not sure where this goes. Maybe just right on the content view. I guess they have a view model here, so I think that implies that they have a VM equals a view model. And we have a little bit of a build failure. Date has no member to yesterday or tomorrow. Okay, so we can add those little helpers. I think I can guess what they mean by that. Oh, it's just static. Okay. It's gonna be minus 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. We'll do the same thing for tomorrow, but I guess without the negative. Because we can make it clear by making the negative be out there. Oh, and I guess we should say not doing this anymore. We're doing a viewer question Your question from Discord. Tomorrow's will be the same thing as yesterday, but without the minus. Okay, are we compiling? Well, it succeeded. Okay. What's our preview looking like? Yeah, there's a button there. And let's see, what does change number do? If it's the first sort of days, increases the number. And returns it. Let's see. I guess we kind of need to know like what this is supposed to look like in the view, which we don't have in this snippet. I guess we could make something like that. Instead of this, we could have let's see, what is on a day? Title, a number, and a date. We could have like a little 3-column thing, perhaps. Lazy vgrid. With, I guess, 3 columns. And in here we can loop through the days. Requires that day confirmed to identify. Okay. Maybe it's the title? It will be the identifier. I'm not really sure the intention of what they're going for here. I'm kind of guessing. We'll guess that the title is what's unique. Yeah, let's make a little bit of a view for this. So we can say a.title, a dot number, and a dot date. Is this a style? Yeah, here we go. Dot date, I guess. Oh, and this needs to be a string. Okay, let's see what we got. Gonna make this a little bit bigger. If we take off this thing, it'll side. And let's hide the Discord a little bit. See, I don't see anything changing. Oh, I guess it's only oh, I am doing sorted days. To me, if you're out there, I'm not really sure what you're going for here. I typed it all in, it compiles, um, and I'm having trouble understanding what you're asking. So if you're out there, just I mean, I'll send you the YouTube link and all that. If you can let me know what you're having trouble with. I'm having trouble understanding where you're going with this, and I'd love to help you out. Um, I did tag you in the Discord. Yeah, so let me know how I can help you out. um, yeah, so I guess that'll be that for this segment for now. Lasted a little bit shorter than I was expecting. Um, yeah, so before we got to your question, um, we worked on our open source signing with Apple server. The GitHub for that is github.com FullQ developer FQ auth. I set up a server on Heroku and reviewed all the configuration for that. And then we looked at how to make the sample app configurable for folks to check out and get running on their own. We want to really make this project beginner friendly. Folks can run the app themselves so they can test out signing with Apple themselves and understand the ins and outs of it so they can apply it to their own apps, of course. Want to make it super simple to deploy. Whew. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for the new follows. I'll be back Thursday at 2 p.m. I do want to get some more of this work on this done kind of off stream because of the sensitive nature of some of these certificates and API keys. Oh, thank you so much, Zanpao. Thank you for stopping by. You can find my past episodes on my YouTube. My open source, of course, is on my GitHub, github.com/fullqdeveloper. I post to my Twitter for stream updates, and of course, stay in touch and ask any questions you like on my Discord. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more live programming.